Sorry we didn't give you more warning.
It's fine. I have something for you. Belonged to Gabriel's mother.
It's beautiful.
Allow me. It's the North Star. That's the only star in the sky that never moves. It's constant, unwavering. A guide.
don't know where we are. We don't know why we're here, we don't know how we got here, and what the whole game's about. So the things that we partake in are concepts, are ideas that are offered to us. And people are born into the situation and they're taught that that's life, that's the way it is. Now that formulates a deep-rooted existential view of what it means to be a human being. Deep-rooted existential view of what it means to be a human being. And people are constantly trying to mould themselves to fit that paradigm, and it's no real. It's no the objective truth of what we're a part of and what we're supposed to be up to here, right? At the same time, you get people telling you to cherish life, life's valuable. Like, you've got all these statements that are made that are based on assumptions that people know what life is and what life's about. The reality is that nobody knows. So we're all just trying to make the most of the situation that we find ourselves in. And this notion and idea that life's some sort of gift and precious, and this is just the way of it. I've said this so many times before. Where do you get those notions from? How do you know this is where you're supposed to be? How do you know you're not the descendant of some prisoner that was brought to a prison camp that we call Earth from some other place at a time unknown? And we have descended from those people. And people have formulated what we call cultures, cults, and try to give themselves an identity. Then they find a place within that false identity. They find a bit of comfort. They find an easy route. Then they start passing that on to their offspring and telling them, this is the way of it, this is what life is. Again, it just depends the circumstance you're born into, but you have to remember the circumstance that human beings are born into are ideas. Do you comprehend what I mean by that? I always use the analogy of a game board. You pull a Monopoly board out. You know how to play Monopoly because you were given a rule book. You were given the tools of what the game was about and what was expected and what the end goal is. With this life, you don't have that. And people, the majority of people, think the game board is something that it's not. That being the globe Earth. And from there, on the false game board, the idiotic, absurd, nature-defying, warped, rotund, testicle game board, people are buying into cultural ideas. Again, culture, the clues in the word, it's cults. They are cults. Cults are based on ideologies that people invest beliefs in and want to be true, and then they become patriotic and defensive of their cult idiocy, and they call it tradition, and then they pass it on to their youth and tell them the same thing, and children coming into the world who are still in touch with themselves a bit go through a process of confusion and bewilderment, lose themselves, become frustrated, become anxious, become depressed, become emotionally unhinged, and then they act out in all sorts of strange ways. Again, it's this notion of looking at the symptoms or circumstances surrounding rather than getting to the real root of the issue. What is all this behaviour rooted in? The whole behavioural spectrum of human beings is rooted in the very fact that they are in a bewildered state. They are running about the place bewildered while having the false certainty about knowing what their life is and where they are and their place within the universe because priests from religious institutions told them so. You believe in a globe earth because somebody told you. Positions of authority told you. You have never and will never in any way, shape or form experience the earth as a rotating, gyrating, wobbling, spinning testicle. You do not experience it in any way, shape or form. But you believe it because you were told to believe it. It's the same with everything else within this place. Unless you know we're here, and you know why the place came to be, and how we ended up here, and why we are here, you do not have a leg to stand on, and nobody does. You bring me any philosophical fucking expert, any so-called rational thinker or cynic or skeptic or any of these people, and I will tear them apart. Because they don't have a leg to stand on. Anybody telling you life's this, that and the other, this is how you should behave, this is what's expected of you, they're charlatans. They're insecure people. All they have invested interests in a particular narrative. The truth is much simpler. The truth is what's going to ground you. The truth is what's going to give you clarity on the false programs that are running right through your mind as we speak. As you desperately clutch and cling and search for a meaning to your existence. So these behaviours that we see, I would call them normal reactions to the abnormal situation that we find ourselves in. I don't blame guns. I look at the bigger picture. What are these behaviours rooted in? Everything has a root, everything has a first cause.